And welcome to my first County Council meeting and last County Council meeting of 2025. Madam Clerk, if I can call this meeting to order.
It's moved by Councillor Broad, seconded by Councillor Bergeron, that the meeting of the Council of the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas and Glengarry be hereby called to order.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion is carried. Moving on to the adoption of the agenda.
It's moved by Councillor Fraser, seconded by Councillor Lang, that Council approve the agenda.
Thank you. Any change or discussions on the agenda? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion's carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, moving on to the adoption of our previous minutes of the November 17th and December 2nd. Madam Clerk.
It's moved by Councillor Densham, seconded by Councillor Broad, that the minutes of the meetings, including the in-camera minutes of the Council of the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas and Glengarry, held November 17th and December 2nd, 2025, be adopted as circulated.
Thank you. Any omissions or changes to the agenda or to the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion is carried. Moving on to our action request, item 6.2 with our financial services. I would ask Sarah to come and present to us our draft assessment management plan, and just be aware we will be looking to adopt a motion once to approve the plan once it's finalized. Welcome, Sarah. I'll just get you to put your mic on. Perfect.
There we go. Good morning. I'm pleased today to be presenting the 2025 Draft Asset Management Plan. I'm going to start with some background on the legislative requirements and where SDG Counties currently stands. I'm going to give a high-level overview of what's in the plan, and then next steps and recommendations for moving forward. The purpose of this plan is to bring together the core asset management plan from 2022 and the non-core plan from 2024 into one consolidated document. The 2022 and 2024 plans were completed with PSD citywide consultants, and this year's plan was developed in-house. This work is part of our ongoing effort to comply with Ontario Regulation 58817. The legislative requirements we're working under today go back to 2015, when the Infrastructure for Jobs and Prosperity Act was introduced. The goal was to improve how municipalities across Ontario plan and invest in infrastructure, and really to standardize asset management practices and help everyone move towards long-term financial sustainability and more consistent planning. Under the regulation, municipalities had to adopt an asset management policy by 2019 and update it every 5 years. For SDG, that update was completed last year in 2024. The next step was introducing asset management plans. So with COVID, the timelines were pushed back a year. So for us, the core plan was completed in 2022, the non-core plan in 2024, and now in 2025, we've consolidated those two plans with updated data and added the additional requirements from the regulation, like proposed levels of service and a financial strategy. Looking ahead, the plan needs to be updated every 5 years, so the next major update will be in 2030. There's also an annual requirement to review our asset management progress and report on it by July 1st of each year. Before I go into the overview of the plan, it's important to understand that this plan is based on year-end data as of December 31st, 2024. Essentially, it's just a snapshot in time. We can't use 2025 data yet because the year isn't complete and the numbers haven't been audited. So while the published plan reflects that point in time, asset management is always evolving. The data changes as we acquire new assets, retire old ones, and complete new studies or assessments. All of those updates are tracked in our asset management software. For context, the roads data in this AMP is based on the 2022 roads needs study, with the next plan scheduled for 2026. Bridges and culverts are based on the 2023 OSIM inspections, and a new report will also be coming in 2026. For stormwater, buildings, machinery and equipment, and vehicles, we've used the best available data combined with our staff input. On this slide, we're looking at the state of our infrastructure. As of December 31st, 2024, the total replacement cost of SDG's asset portfolio is approximately $1.27 billion. That replacement cost is based on a mix of sources, things like estimates from the roads needs study, OSIM inspections, consultant input, staff knowledge, and insured values. When we look at the overall condition of our assets, the average condition is about 70%, which is considered good. Roads and bridges, which make up the bulk of our assets, are also in good condition. In fact, 89% of all of our assets are in fair or better, which is a strong position to be in. In the 2022 and 2024 plans, we identified the current levels of service for all asset categories. For this plan, the requirement is to define our proposed levels of service. What you'll see is that the proposed levels for both core and non-core assets don't really change from what we have now. Based on feedback, our current service levels seem to meet expectations. For all assets, we also look at the reinvestment rate compared to our target reinvestment rate, and I'll touch on that in a later slide. For roads, we measure the pavement condition index value, which is currently 73. Our proposed levels of service is to maintain roads in good or better condition, which means a PCI of 60 or higher. For bridges and culverts, the proposed level of service is also to maintain as good or above, which it means 70 or above. But here we're talking about bridge condition index value, and currently bridges and culverts are at a BCI of 70. For non-core assets, the focus shifts to risk of failure and overall condition. And what it really boils down to is our goal is to have 75% of our assets in fair or better condition and no more than 25% in poor or very poor condition. The same principle applies to risk. We want 75% of assets to fall into the moderate to very low risk category and keep those in high or very high risk at 25% or less. When we look at buildings, the current risk level is high, and that's largely because of the age of most of our facilities. For machinery and equipment, there are also more assets than we like in the higher risk and lower condition categories, and again, that's simply due to age. It doesn't necessarily mean those assets aren't functional or safe. It's also something staff plan to look into for the future updates to determine if we are using the best formula to determine risk for our assets. Using the proposed levels of service, we can calculate what our forecasted annual capital requirement would be to fully fund the asset management plan. That number comes in at about $29.7 million per year, with the majority of that tied to roads and bridges. When we compare that to how SDG has historically funded assets, we see an annual funding gap of roughly $11.3 million. And while that sounds like a big number, it's important to keep in mind that that isn't unique to SDG. This is the reality for every municipality across Ontario. Every municipality has a large portfolio of assets, and there simply isn't enough funding available each year to follow replacement schedules exactly as they're laid out. This slide shows our target reinvestment rate based on the proposed levels of service compared to our current reinvestment rate. One thing I want to highlight is machinery and equipment because it stands out with a big variance, 15% target reinvestment rate and a 2.2 actual reinvestment rate. When you look at that visually, it seems really concerning, but in terms of actual dollars, the gap is about $342,000. Compare that to the road network where visually there is a small gap. The target is 1.6 and the actual is 1.4, but that gap is roughly $1 million. So while the chart makes machinery and equipment look like it's a major issue, when you put it into perspective against our larger asset categories, it's not as significant as it appears. This slide breaks down the annual capital deficit. This is the difference between our target and current reinvestment rate in dollars. As you can see, the largest shortfall is in bridges, coming in at roughly $7.6 million. On the other end of the spectrum, stormwater has the smallest deficit at roughly $269,000. So while the gaps vary significantly by category, this gives us a clearer picture of where the biggest pressures are for SDG counties. That brings us to the financial strategy. The goal here is to show how SDG counties plans to close the funding gap. In the plan, we focused only on sustainable funding sources, things we can count on year after year. For SDG, that means taxes levied, CCBF funding, and OSIF funding. We don't include proposed grants or hope for project funding because those aren't guaranteed, and the strategy needs to be based on reliable revenue. With an annual capital deficit or funding gap of about $11.3 million, the plan recommends a phased approach, a 2.6% tax rate increase each year over 7 years. That would generate roughly $1.6 million annually and move SDG counties towards full funding. The 2.6 annual tax rate change is shown in the 10-year financial plan in the proposed funding. On this slide, I'm showing years 2031 to 2035, and I'm highlighting 2032. That's year 7 of the strategy, where annual funding reaches the average capital requirement of $29.7 million. And the strategy behind this is implementing a small increase annually to help close the funding gap over a time frame that's not too short. That would mean significant increases, but also not too long, where issues like significant infrastructure backlog occurs due to insufficient funding. I also want to point out there are several years in the plan where proposed funding doesn't fully cover the capital plan. In those cases, and really in every year, we review what's proposed and make adjustments as needed. That doesn't necessarily mean we're pushing multiple projects or replacements off, but we do need to be really realistic about what can be completed within the available budget. We'll also look at reserves and debt as tools to close any gaps. In the years where there is sufficient or excess funding, we will look at transferring to reserves to fund future years where there are gaps and or addressing any backlogs. And since we've already completed the 2026 budget, I want to show an example of how things have shifted for the upcoming year. So this chart compares what's in the AMP to our 2026 budget, and I'll speak to the bridges and culverts category. In this AMP, Bridges has approximately $11.5 million requirement in the capital plan for 2026. And this comes directly from the 2023 OSIMs. When looking at the assets specifically identified for that year, there's actually 2 structures that were brought forward to be completed this year in 2025, and the others have been moved to future years. The main bridge project in the 2026 budget is Cass Bridge at $4.1 million. And it was originally identified in the 2023 OSIMs for rehab work in 2027 and additional rehab work in 2032. The other main bridge project in the budget is Pittston Creek Bridge, and that was identified in 2025 with additional minor rehab in 2032. So we have a mix of projects being shifted forwards and backwards, and this is just an example of how asset management, it truly is a snapshot in time and provides a long-term framework. But actual project timing often shifts based on priorities, funding availability, and operational considerations. It highlights the need for flexibility in aligning the plan with our annual budget while still meeting the overall asset management requirements in Ontario Regulation 58817. For recommendations and next steps, one of the big pieces we need to look at is the feasibility of moving towards a full funding strategy. The asset management plan gives us a long-term framework, but as we've just seen, project timing often shifts based on priorities and the funding available. Alongside that, we need to keep refining our asset data, updating it as new studies and inspections come in, because good decisions depend on accurate information. For 2026 specifically, we will have the 2025 OSIMs to add to our software and the next 4-year plan for roads. We'll also hopefully have a concept for the roads garages. So between those 3 things, there will be major changes to our plan and also the supporting calculations, which leads to our final step being completing the annual review required under Ontario Regulation 58817 to make sure we remain compliant and keep improving our approach to asset management. This is especially important to us with all the new information we're expecting this year or next year. So that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Sarah. So I will take questions from council. Go ahead, Councillor Broad.
Well, thank you, Warden, and through you, and thanks, Sarah, for your presentation today and continued conversations on the asset management plan. Always find it as a challenge, as we look at our asset management plan, balancing, how much funding we need, how much funding we can actually get, which leads me to my comment today rather than a question. I think this really proves how going to the taxpayer and asking them for more money to fund the plan is very difficult to do, and where one way that we really can accelerate plans is to continue to advocate within SDG for growth, right? And it doesn't matter in this case whether the growth happens in north or south of any one of our 6 municipalities. We need to deliver those projects and get them in SDG, not to Leeds and Grenville or Prescott Russell, so that we can add our funding into this asset management plan. And I think that's something we should focus on, and we talked about more collaboration and continue to do that. So I think that's one way we should definitely be thinking about advancing, and I know other municipalities work really strong on ACDEV, and I know we have a strong ACDEV team here, and I think we could advance that more to help funding in this way.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Seeing none, all I can add is when you look at a report that Sarah just presented, it can be intimidating to see, and I think we can comment the work that Rebecca and her team put together to bring a budget when you're kind of seeing those kind of numbers. So again, well done. So with that said, there is a report that will be to bring to Council. Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
There's a motion to accept the report, and it's moved by Councillor Broad, seconded by Councillor Lang, that the Council of the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas and Glengarry adopt the 2025 SDG Counties Asset Management Plan dated December 15th, 2025.
Thank you. Seeing no further questions, all in favor? Motion is carried. Moving on to transportation, I'll request Cameron and Phil, I believe, will be presenting. And if we, or Madam Clerk, first item on the agenda is the Alvin Reynolds Forest Fire cost. If we can get the motion, please.
It's moved by Councillor Bergeron, seconded by Councillor Densham, that the Council of the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas and Glengarry agree to financial contribution towards the Alvin Reynolds Forest Fire emergency response, and that Council approve the request from the townships for staffing costs and equipment rentals of $58,808.12, and that this amount be funded from the SDG Counties Working Reserve.
Thank you. So go ahead, gentlemen.
Thank you, Warden, and through you. So this is, if you remember the last council meeting, we talked about some of the costs that were associated or attributed to the township in North Dundas and them seeking some financial compensation. It was deferred. The report, we were looking for a bit more information on some of the other incurred costs by the other 5 municipalities. So this report should summarize that for you. It is the total cost for labor itself is around $47,500. When you look at the excavator rental, it's another $11,000 for a total recompensation of $58,808.12. So looking for some comments on whether this is something that County Council wishes to proceed with.
Thank you. Any questions? Go ahead, Councillor Fraser.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, through you, and I appreciate the report and how quickly that was compiled. This is something that I believe all of Council is looking forward to. I know us from North Dundas, we're looking forward to the idea to ensuring that everyone's submitted costs were compensated for, and I look forward to this being passed.
Thank you. Any other questions from Council? Seeing all 6 municipalities, I think the collaboration that we've always talked about working together is proven here. So again, I really appreciate it. So with the motion on the table, all in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. Moving on to item B with the SDG Forest easement. Madam Clerk.
It's moved by Councillor Lang, seconded by Councillor Broad, that the Council of the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas and Glengarry agree to enter into 2 separate easement agreements for future lands owned and legally described as Part Lots 16 and 17, Concession 4 Canyon, as in AR 71730 south of Forest Road, North Glengarry, save and accept Parts 1, 3, and 4, and that the Director of Transportation Services be authorized to ratify the easement agreements immediately after the closing date of the land transfer.
Thank you. So I'll pass that over again to Cameron and Phil.
Thank you again, and through you. This is a clerical report in nature. If Council remembers a few years ago now, the counties were gifted full donation, 145 acres in North Glengarry. The donor is looking for an easement to retain access to some of his agricultural land through sort of a dry creek crossing that splits his parcel. And so this would be two easements registered on our property for that landowner to maintain that access to the backside of their agricultural field. So just looking for some I guess direction on whether County Council approves that, and also for myself to sign that agreement once it comes in and the purchase and sale is complete.
Thank you. Any questions on the report? Go ahead, Councillor Lang.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, and through you. Just a question on the Little River there. The easement, I guess, would cross that. who would be responsible for that culvert? We know what the price of culverts and stuff is done these days. Would it be us to keep it up, or
So
the
it's my
landowner?
understanding it's actually it's usually runs dry, and it's a dry crossing in
Low water crossing.
low water crossing. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I certainly have no objections to the easement. Just a comment, really, on the donation itself. This is a wonderful story, really, to gain such a terrific forest for a 100% donation with a tax receipt. And I think, just related to my comments at the last meeting with regards to, acquiring forested land, to me, this is really the ideal way for SDG to acquire forested land. If we can really, talk about in the future perhaps going the route or encouraging the route of donation, 100% donation with a tax receipt. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion. Motion's carried. Moving to item 9 with regards to our consent agenda. Madam Clerk.
It's moved by Councillor Densham, seconded by Councillor Fraser, that all items listed under the consent agenda section of the agenda be received for information purposes.
Gotta see any super I am any questions or comments in regards to our agenda or consents. Seeing none, all in favor. Motion is carried. Moving to our boards and committees. So if I can ask all of you to keep it short so I can have the quickest meeting ever, I will start with, so we see Warden Lang is still on the Warden's report, so anything you want to bring forward within your last month of sitting in the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, and through you. So if I can go about 12 or 13 minutes, you wouldn't have the shortest meeting, I think. So. But things have been, as everybody knows, have been slowly kind of winding down towards the holidays, and wasn't as much on the agenda. Did attend the Prescott Russell's Warden Banquet along with several other councillors that are here. The Warden, Eva Levilat, was ending his term similar to what I was, and Mario Zaneth, I think is his name, that is coming in for Prescott Russell, so looking forward to working with them. The SDG Christmas party, as I think quite a few of us here were there as well, was enjoyed. Appreciate staff putting that on, and had a good time. Not too much else, just a big thank you to everybody for the support for the last year. I really, really enjoyed it, and I think it went by way too fast, but maybe we'll have to have a chat about whether it should be 2 years or not, maybe during the next term of council or something, but see what everybody else thinks. But I really enjoyed it, so thank you.
Sorry.
Just have a question. Can you tell us what was served at both meals that you were at?
I know that it was prime rib at the Warden's Banquet in Prescott Russell. What was that, the other one?
Just trying to slow it down for you.
I'm getting prompted, eh?
Got to keep my record intact.
Thank you, Councillor Lang. So if I can add I'd like to thank the two ladies sitting in front of me, Maureen, Kim, I believe Todd, and everyone that had their hands on the inauguration that took place last Friday. It was very well done, and I'd like to thank all of you, not just from myself, but my whole extended family. I think we were very impressed on how we attend our inauguration. So a job well done, and thank you very much. Quickly, I will be, which is coming up, but I will be attending the inauguration for Warden or President Zan on Wednesday night, and also I'll bring back a report, but I'm starting quickly in the new year on the 7th, 8th, and 9th of January. Myself, Maureen, and our past warden will be attending the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus in Kingston, so I'll bring a report back from there. So that's from our report. Moving on to joint liaison. It says Martin. Anybody want to speak on that?
I can speak on it a little bit. We had a meeting, just see what the date was, November 26th, the Joint Liaison Committee with the City of Cornwall. One of the things discussed is safety and well-being plan. Now, this is a plan that is it's in for 4 years, 5 years. This one's going to run from 2026 to 2030. Staff and committee are going to do some groundwork in January, February. Community engagements will be February to May. This is the draft, if all goes according to plan. We should have a draft plan in June, July, and then hopefully launching the new safety and well-being plan during Mental Health Awareness Week of October of next year. So that's one of the things. We also had updates on all the rest of our shared services, court services, human services, paramedics, and so forth. So, thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Moving on to the Library Board, Councillor Broad.
Yeah, thank you, Warden. And since time was on everybody's mind this morning, for those that didn't join us at the Warden's banquet on Friday at ESCA, it was kindly mentioned that my enthusiastic library report should be kept to 1 minute. So from my categories games, I have a 1 minute timer. So I will start my timer to ensure that I get my full 1 minute. So we'll... Thank you, Ward. The Library Board had an enthusiastic meeting on November the 20th in the great town of Long Sault, and we shared our book club as the board members continue to, every meeting, have a book to read, and we read Peace by Chocolate, and we shared our stories around that. During the meeting, we did have a delegation from Tri-County Literacy. Very interesting, a lot of training going on, and here in the city of Cornwall, they obviously would like to do more without SDG, and I think we should consider continue on that, as some of the challenges that we have today with homelessness lead from mental health, literacy, and those items. So all the training that we can do, and this may be a program that we do more of. The statistics for October came back, and we had some good numbers, and we did a library push for cards, so we had almost close to 500 new library members sign up in the month of October, so that was fantastic. We've set our 2026 meeting dates and meeting topics, and we've worked on a new AI policy for the Library Board. Continuing on, even though I'm going past my time, a few things that you may have read in the consent agenda were Iroquois. We've had new carpet installed and Maxwell new lights installed. What I really wanted to highlight is all the great work that goes on with all our branches, and the flyer here, and this one's for the eastern area, Iroquois branch, Morrisburg, and all the great events where we have authors come in and tell stories, and we have book clubs, and we have kids and activities, and Maker Lab activities, and it continues to be a great program in the library, and it's so many great activities you can do. Not only read electronic books, but you can also now get games. So I will return my game piece to my game, but don't forget to pick up your game over the holidays at your local library. Thank you, Warden.
Thank you very much, Councillor Broad. As I sit on the Library Board, I guess you get that extended a lot of times. Moving on to the Police Service Board, so whether Martin or Brian, or Councillor McGillis. You're having it this week? Perfect, thank you. Moving on to the Eastern Ontario Health Unit, Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Dr. Paul reviewed the flu season for what we're going to face this year. It has started early and is likely to be a bad season. So the health unit is encouraging everyone to get their vaccinations. And the health unit is doing enhanced messaging on flu vaccination in order to achieve higher numbers. We spent some time reviewing the draft 2025 OPHS, which is the Ontario Public Health Standards. It's a document about that thick, full of more information that make your head spin. And there have been some significant changes in the document, which should enhance the delivery of services for health units across Ontario. 2026 has been delayed. It was just a draft that was demonstrated to us, but it should be out probably at the end of 2026. And some of those changes will affect operations that are yet to be determined. I don't know if you have anything else, Councillor McGillis?
Go ahead.
All right, thank you, Mr. Warden. I think you covered pretty well everything. The main objective of that working draft that's in place right now is to enhance and prioritize the operations. I can read a few things about the benefits of it. Focused on prevention, not just treatment, reduces illness, injury, and premature death. Addresses chronic disease, infectious disease, and mental health. Early detection and management of infectious diseases. It targets health inequities by focusing on population at a higher risk. So things like that. So as you said, it's thick. There's a lot of information in there, and we'll have. That's why it's going to take a while before they can pass this draft, and by the end of next year. I think that's probably all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Glen Store Dunn Lodge, Councillor Broad.
Thank you, Warden. Yes, we had a meeting in November. Reported that our occupancy fell down to 95 briefly for a month as we were doing capital repairs at a bunch of rooms, so they were getting painted. But we got back up to 97 where we need to be for ministry legislation. Ongoing and close to finishing the new union contract. Several outbreaks, just hearing from the medical side, outbreaks in the lodge that they managed very successfully. But the good news is, as of November, the lodge was in full ministry compliance. We didn't have any outstanding orders to the lodge. So those things change as things happen throughout the year, but currently we're in full compliance at the lodge.
Perfect. Great to hear. Moving on to the St. Lawrence River Institute. Seeing none. Raisin and South Nation or Source Water Protection Committee. Seeing none. How about the Municipal Advisory? Councillor Fraser? No. Regional Incentive Program?
Expecting a meeting in mid-January.
Thank you. Rural Education Committee.
Yeah, thank you, Warden. Nothing new in terms of the committee, but we are still hoping to meet with Minister Calandra at Roma to discuss many things, including the trustees' role and the new EQAO standardized testing. So we're hoping that we get awarded at least a few minutes of his time.
Thank you. Do we know, Madam CEO, when is the awards for delegations? Do we hear that should be shortly, I presume?
Through you, Mr. Warden, I have heard that one of the townships did get confirmation of one of their delegations at the end of last week. I believe it was in South Stormont, but everybody is still waiting, so it's still a little bit early. Probably just before Christmas shutdown, or maybe I would hope just before Christmas.
Perfect. Thank you. Moving to Social Development Council next week. Thank you. Our SDG Forest Working Group. Go ahead, Councillor Lang.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, through you. Yes, we had a meeting last week, I believe. I think it was on the 10th. I could be wrong on the date, but we met at the clubhouse in Somerstown for the Somerstown Trails. Well-attended meeting. Discussed forest use policy, redoing the forest use policy agreement and forest management plan. And this is going to take a little bit of time, but we had a draft of the first part of that plan. This is a 20-year plan that is just finishing, our past 20-year plan is just finishing up in this year. The next one starts 2026 to 2046. So we started going through that. And at the end of the meeting, we had a tour of Somerstown Forest to look at some of the logging that's going on there with the harvest. It seems to be going quite well. We did some last year, some this year. I don't think they're going to finish it up this year. It'll like to be a little bit to do next year, but the friends of the forest would really like to get their trails up and running for the season. The snow's on the ground, and so we're pulling out with the forestry equipment, I guess, shortly, and they'll be able to get their trails up and running. So, well-attended meeting, lots to think about on the forest management plan to try to kind of set the direction for the next 20 years. Thanks.
Thank you. And last, the Board of Mayors Alliance.
Yeah, we've had a quiet fall, but we are meeting again on Thursday to launch into phase 2 of our association.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Moving to item 11.1 in regards to administrative updates. Madam CEO.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Would just like to highlight a couple of dates going into the new year. So our County Council meeting is going to be the 4th Monday in January because Roma is the week before. And Also, too, we were talked about a committee of the whole, and we're looking for a date that might work for council. So we're proposing a few dates in February. January is pretty busy for the warden with EOWC meetings and a few other items that have come up. So we're looking at Monday, February the 9th, Friday, February the 20th, or Monday, February 23rd. So perhaps if people can look at their calendars. The 20th?
9th, 20th, and 23rd. Do we want to maybe just give me what are the days of the week, the 9th? Okay. So do we want a show of hands on a preferred date, or? Go ahead, Councillor Fraser.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Seeing how no one was jumping into the fray, I'm going to suggest or ask the question of Madam CEO, would that be an early start in one of those dates? I maybe missed that part of the schedule.
So thank you, Councillor Fraser. So we didn't indicate a time. So the Mondays, typically, we start at 9 a.m. We do not have to, though. If council would like to have the meeting begin mid-afternoon or later afternoon, we can do that as well.
Okay.
We're really at the direction of council.
So, if I may, I do like the idea of an early start. All of the days, the 9th works for me. The 20th works for me. Both will be an early start. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's show a show of hands for the 9th with a 9 o'clock start. Looks like we have consensus, so Maureen, if we can go with February the 9th with Committee of the Whole. Thank you. This brings us to our closed session. So, Madam Clerk.
It's moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Bergeron, that council proceed in camera pursuant to Section 239(2)B of the Municipal Act 2001, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal local board employees, for a human resources matter.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion's carried. Madam Clerk.
It's moved by Councillor Broad, seconded by Councillor MacDonald, that Council rise and reconvene in open session without reporting.
All in favor? Motion is carried. So now the ratification.
It's moved by Councillor Densham, seconded by Councillor MacDonald, that bylaw number 5518, being a bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify matters dealt with by resolution, be read and passed in open council, signed and sealed.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion is carried. And before we adjourn, first I would like to, as I've sat through my first meeting, look where I look forward to serving our constituents as your warden for the year 2026. And I believe that it's an interesting year with the election year coming up, but I look forward to meeting all of you, going through, possibly attend some of your meetings early on. I think Karma Williams had done that. There's value just to see how everyone operates. So I'll be in touch through our CAO to just get in contact and possibly attend one of your meetings coming shortly. And I want to thank all our council members, staff, and all who served on counties for their dedication throughout the year. As we enter the holiday season, I wish everyone the time to rest and enjoy moments with their family and friends. On behalf of council, I want to wish you all best wishes for a safe and joyful holiday season, and all the best in the new years. Joyeux Noël et bonne année. Merci. Thank you. Madam Clerk, let's move to adjourn, please.
It's moved by Councillor Bergeron, seconded by Councillor Broad, that council adjourn to the call of the chair.
Thank you. All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you very much.